Okay, so at this point, let's take a look at our example character that is going to be walking around and can use a map. First things first, he has a map source component. It's just an arrow that says where the map considers your character to be. You might have a giant vehicle and you want the center of the map to be up near some front viewing port, or maybe in its center of mass, whatever. It's just a component to tell it where the map should assume the center to be. Also, which rotation. X is forward, x-axis. Looking at its event graph, we will see begin play. Here we go. The basic part is here. We create a UI widget, demo screen UI. This is pretty much the general user interface idea. You would probably make your own or modify this one because that's where you'd probably stick health bars and whatever else you have. It would be customized for your own game, however you want your user interface to be seen. In this case, I just made a blank one that only has the minimap widget in it. The basic things are what type of map it's currently going, the source actor, that being this actor, we want to tell it that, and then you would add it to the viewport and save some stuff. The demo screen widget, you set some things for friends, hostiles, depends on what you're doing. After this, we've got a bunch of other options like M for toggling full screen. Here's an example on how we might do that. Options here for how you would move around using WASD and so on to look around while on full screen if you want to be able to do that and not always have it centered on the character. Zooming in and out with a mouse wheel, and remove things if you have specific returns on a map that you want to show or not show. Either way, you got some various examples of how you would do stuff here. A lot of text, take some time, read this stuff, read the documentation for those details of more specific things. The actual demo UI widget itself is, in this case, you might have your health, ammo, other various things on here, but in this case, all we have is our minimap widget. So here you can see some various options like its position, the scanner details, the visuals, which have what type of visuals it's using, the mask for where it will actually show stuff, the map textures. So let's look at the actual code side. Event construct, the basic thing is we set our minimap widget, that being this thing, which was dropped into this widget itself. The minimap widget. You set the source actor, it needs to know that, and then you give it an update command so it can rebuild using that information. Then we want to update its zoom limits. In this case, we will get the level map blueprint in our level, get 0, assuming there's only one, that'll be it. Min view range, max view range, and we just set these up and, use this message, and that will set the zoom ranges. And then there's a set widget style, which sets the style, because in this example, I was able to toggle between those different types of maps on the fly. So here, these are the different ones of those. And here we got a full screen one with a set map full screen. Let's set this to, here's a square minimap. An example of how you swap the map on the fly. Pretty much it's just setting the location for where your widget needs to be, updating its visuals, and then you change the zoom in buttons, how they appear and where they're located so they match that new thing. Most of these are normal slate brush and stuff widget variables and things in Unreal, so in order to take advantage of all this you will need to understand and learn the basics, but most of it's pretty simple. Like here it's just the size of the image, the actual image itself, and what it will look like depending on whether you're hovering over it with a cursor, whether it's been pressed or stuff. The actual message is custom to the minimaps, are for the most part fairly straight simple themselves. And then a compass, because the minimap has that lovely little compass. You can set whether or not this is usable, what image it's using, similar things. Since that's just one simple image as opposed to this whole slate brush system, these are definitely more complex and poke out, but it looks big and bulky, but it's relatively simple once you learn it and get used to it again. So, going back, that's more or less that. For the set full screen map, the basic parts are the visuals, it's update the map widget, update the size, the viewport size as opposed to its original. Canvas slot. There's things, again, this is mostly just the finer details of some stuff that you'll want to actually spend a lot more time looking into yourself to fully figure out. And with this, you have your widget here. At the basic level, if you just want to have a single widget that doesn't do anything weird, you can just drop it into your UI, set up this basic code of telling it, hey, who is your source actor, and probably setting that default zoom limits. And that's pretty much all you need to do. Things like full screen, you can reference that. If you want to change stuff on the fly, you can reference these different things. For the most part, they're just changing visual stuff. Down here, there is a large list of the various messages that can be sent to this thing in order to change parts, or some that it might send out to provide information for others. So with this, it's worth saying that, yeah, now in here there will be an option for automatically using the level map blueprint in order to grab its tiles. You could manually set everything in here, but it's definitely better to use the level map BP when possible. So pretty much all you need to do is take this widget, stick it in your UI, give it those couple little basic bits of information when you start playing, and all that UI widget you'll just need to load into your character at the beginning of play. You want to map source component so that it knows where to be centered on your character. And then you'll want to have generated some textures. You can modify them outside in Photoshop or make your own completely from scratch depending on the style you want. And set up the little level map actor so it can tell any characters dropping into the level what they should be looking for and how the map should look. And as a final note, we've got these little actors and stuff around here that you might have noticed were showing up. That is using a component map return BP. Just add component map return on your actors, and with this you can give it a position for, once again, where it represents them. The basic idea is you got different options for a widget. So source means if this actor happens to actually be the actor that was the source actor, so your own character, when seeing himself in his own map, you might want a different icon than someone else seeing him. Then you got neutral, is he counted as neutral, hostile, friendly. Again, going back to the character's blueprint, that's what we were doing, setting the friendly and hostile tags. And then a few options for how things might be visible or not, or stuff, various distances. Hostiles might be viewable from closer distances, while friendlies you can see a lot further away. Just a few basic things like that. And with this, you have the case of, in this case, as you can see, our own character has a little green icon as the source. Right. I forgot to disable the camera so it doesn't take shots again. Alright, so the character here has little green arrow representing himself, blue arrow here represents this guy, and that one is set to be visible at the border of the screen. This one doesn't. Here's a little enemy one, and over here's a little vehicle one, which is, in this case, just a blue icon, but it's represented is showing a different icon than these, simply for the sake of variety for this demo. And as mentioned, here we are showing the idea of looking around while in full screen, using WASD and stuff, zooming, or clicking in and out. So this is the basics of what this product does and how you would actually implement into your project. Pretty much, you take your levels, you build them like so that they have the actual maps. You take your character, you have a UI for it. Probably already have one in most games, so take that one and then you'll want to add in this widget and just plug in these little basic bits. To do all these more fun parts like different ones on the fly or changing full screener stuff, then that takes a little bit more effort. Lots of stuff here to reference. And there's lots of other things not shown here that you can find by going into the documentation. It is a very long documentation. I should know I spent way too long writing that thing. I wouldn't call them nightmares, but I was writing in my dreams while doing that. Not fun. So, hope this has been informative and gives people a basic idea of how to set this up, what it would take to set this up in their projects, and what this does more so than the simple demo product video. Terracon4 signing out. Have a good one.